Hi there. So what is buah pukul? Well, buah pukul is the name of a Malaysian striking-based system, or several Malay striking-based systems. And as the story goes, a Chinese Muslim trader named Abdul Rahman Al-Yunani came to the port of Singapore in 1897, I've heard, but let's just say 1890s or late 1800s. He quickly became famous for beating up a local dock gang. The Sultan of Johor heard about this, and he sent two of his men, a man named Pak Long and a man named Abang Daik. And these guys, they were gurus in different silat systems, namely Sendang and Sunting, respectively. So they were renowned fighters of the time, and one of them, I believe, was the chief of police. Anyways, they go and look this guy up, and they are really impressed by his skills, and they start training with him. Exactly what arts Abdul Rahman Al-Yunani had practiced, we do not know. Actually, we know extremely little about him. Like one of my teachers said, we don't even have a tomb to look to, or a tombstone, so we don't even know if he really existed. I mean, it is likely, but there is no evidence to except for the oral tradition, and actually written tradition. There is also written tradition in buah pukul. But outside of that, there is no. We don't have any other sources to corroborate his existence. But I mean, Chinese traders went all over, so I mean, there's no reason to disbelieve his existence. Exactly what Chinese martial art he had been training, we do not know. However, we do know that he came from Yunnan, as his name implies, Al-Yunani, and he was. There are some stories that say that he was an Arab that had been living in China, but this isn't as likely. In all likelihood, he was a Chinese Muslim trader, and Yunnan actually has a quite large Muslim population, so this isn't. This is also the most likely. As for the martial art he came with, we do not know, but my limited online research, I have only searched the sources I could find online, have concluded that Chinese Muslims in the Yunnan region in the late 1800s were mostly famous for two martial arts, and this was Wing Chun and Baji Chuan. So in all likelihood, he either trained one or both or something similar, because there may have been some derivative of one or two of them that just didn't survive to this day. We just don't know. But it is obviously very hand-based. It's striking-based, and it has a level of sophistication in the handling of striking, which isn't as common in many other silat systems, who very often focus on takedowns or very often just deal with one attack and go in from there. And buah pukul is special in this regard because it deals with multiple strikes and fighting very much in the stand-up, just striking distance up until, and of course, elbows. And one of the systems, I primarily train and teach a system called Sunjata, now Lian Ilham, under Shegu Ali, but I also have done a little bit of Sunjata Lapan, which means 8 weapons, 1, 2, knees and feet, you know, hands, elbows, knees and feet. And it's interesting that the full name of Baji Chuan, I'm not going to try this pronunciation, but it basically means to strike to strike open the 8 doors or something like this. So it is also dealing with the 8 weapons. So the connection might be there. I do not know. Now there is a question: is buah pukul silat? well. I have met buah pukul players in Malaysia who say, no, buah pukul is buah pukul, silat is silat. I very often call buah pukul silat, and that is in part because silat is very famous. So in the West it's easier to just say this is a form of striking based silat than to say, oh, it's buah pukul that nobody heard of. If you say silat, most people know what it is. Also, in fact, the badge on for Lian Ilham actually says Persatuan Seni Silat Lian Ilham. So I think I'm pretty much in the safe by calling it silat. So this is, so in my opinion, it is silat. It is, some people call it Malay kuntao, and if your definition of kuntao is silat with Chinese heritage, then yes, you can call it that, but buah pukul players will say no, it's not, it's buah pukul, and there's no reason to call it kuntao since it isn't. And there is kuntao in Malaysia, and because when I asked about kuntao in Malaysia, they actually said, oh, you mean hard silat. So they obviously know what kuntao is, and they don't call it that. So I'm going to stick with buah pukul. Even though I accept the argument from a Western perspective that it is silat with Chinese heritage, so then it could be could be kuntao. Also, some people say that it is Malay pukulan, which is also not true. It isn't pukulan. It is similarly to pukulan. It is striking based, and if you're just going to say, ah, yeah, it's like a Malay pukulan, then I agree, it is similar. It is, if there was a Malay pukulan, it would be buah pukul. However, buah pukul is buah pukul and pukulan is pukulan. So they are not the same systems, they are not related. There are systems that are related to buah pukul. There is something called sapring, is it called sapring dua or sapring something? I think it's from Sarawak, and there's some system from Borneo called gerak something. I think it's actually Morning had a video of these guys from Brunei, and they have a similar creation story about this Chinese Muslim trader that shows up. And actually, if you look at their movements, it's and also some of their terminology and IDs, it's very similar. They have this concepts, dilam, gerak, gayang, ruat, and these things that we use. Now, of course, what we also should remember as Westerners, we should remember that a lot of what we perceive as terminology is just words. So that because I have made this mistake myself, I've sometimes, referred to something, for example, we call something gelek, which basically, for us, it is to step out 90 degrees with your lead leg. However, gelek just means to turn. So you can see other silat systems using the word gelek, and they do some turning movement, but it isn't exactly the same. So be careful when using Malay or Bahasa words as terminology, because remember, they're just words. So it might be that your instructor is just using that word to describe what he wants you to do, and you perceive it as terminology, which it by and large just isn't. Alright, so that was a short introduction to buah pukul. I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much. Bye bye.